You guys love that cool jazz, right? So welcome. As you can see, Jill and I have a guest. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming to our pop-up stream this weekend. I guess it's not really a pop-up, we've advertised it. And tonight we're gonna talk about AQSG seminar, spoiler alert. Jill, why don't you introduce our guest?
Well, just for anyone that's brand new, that's not used to coming to our stream, Stephanie Capps-Dyke and myself, Jill Alexander, we are the duo of Quilt Nerding, born out of another stream run by Mary Fons called Quilt Nerd. You can see reruns on YouTube. And with us tonight is our friend, Executive Director, Carrie Dell. Carrie, please say hello.
I'm here.
You're here.
Executive Director of AQSG, American Quilt Study Group.
We are so excited to have you. Thank you so much for joining us, because I know at this point in time, you're a busy lady.
Yeah, a little. Just a little. It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
It is. So everyone, we have put this together because Stephanie and I are on the seminar committee, and at the last minute, we decided that it would be a really good idea to tell you all the nitty-gritty about seminar. I know, like, the newsletters come out and you can look through everything, but some people can get kind of overwhelmed, or new people might not know that this is a thing, and there are more nerds waiting to be your friends places. So we put this fabulous presentation together with you, and we have Carrie here to help answer questions, because we hope that you're going to come and spend time with us. Steph is giving a study center, and it's going to be amazing. Oh my God, you just wait. And I'll be there, and Carrie will be there, along with other nerds that you know. We have some in our group that are already coming, and we hope that more of you will join us. And we've done some things that we hope will make that even easier for you to do tonight. So without further ado, let's get going. We got stuff to talk about.
All right. Yeah, it's already 7 after.
Lots of stuff.
So I am going to share my screen. Okay. All right. So we are on talking view. So I think whoever has got the mic is going to be the picture up. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
I love that quilt in the background. That is gorgeous.
So
yeah, actually, Carrie sent us the picture of that quilt real quick. Do you remember whose it was or where it was hanging?
I believe that was one of the quilts from the exhibit in Louisville. The National Quilt Museum exhibit, I believe. Don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
Awesome. It's a beautiful quilt. I can believe it.
And full disclosure, all of the pictures in this presentation were from the Louisville seminar, which Stephanie and I did attend. And we wanted to showcase that one because we can really talk about what it was like to be there for anyone who wants to know. And it was amazing. And so many things to say. Many things to say.
So with that said, with those Louisville pictures, we want to talk about Tarrytown. So September, the first week in September, is going to be an exciting time in Tarrytown, New York, because AQSG will descend upon that beautiful little town for our seminar. And this is a really cool quilt that is from Tarrytown. It's the Sanitary Fair quilt. And I didn't grab the little blurb about it, but I mean, as you can see, this is the fun and wild stuff that we get to look at and study. So just to jump right into it, I put together a slide that has a whole bunch of stuff on it concerning what seminar includes. Like when you buy a ticket to this event, what all does it include?
Carrie, can you tell us about what it includes?
All of this and more. Meals. So the meals, seminar technically opens on Thursday, and there's a welcome reception. And that's when people kind of start talking about the coming days, because it's on a weekend. It's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That is technically when seminar takes place. However, we have tours pre-seminar things. So we have a tour on Wednesday. Actually, there's a couple of tours on Wednesday, and we have tours on Thursday and some on Friday. Actually, one tour on Wednesday, and then tours on Thursday and Friday. And there's also a tour on Monday. So when you talk about meals, the opening night is Friday, and so dinner is included that with seminar with your registration on Friday night. Then you get breakfast Saturday morning, lunch Saturday, dinner Saturday night. Friday night is the live auction. We kind of flip-flopped this year. Normally, the opening banquet is on Friday evening, but this year, because of a lot of reasons, we decided to flip-flop, and the live auction is Friday evening, and then the banquet with the keynote speaker and Nancy Bevore, our president, will get up and speak and talk about the state of the organization. And then Sunday morning breakfast and Sunday lunch. And we have keynote speakers for the lunch, or not keynote speakers, but luncheon speakers for the lunches on Saturday and Sunday too. So we can talk about that whenever. But
Those lunch
yeah,
speakers
paper
are fabulous.
presentations. Yeah. All of the speakers are going to be fabulous. The keynote that's going to be on Saturday night. That's Dr. Myra Brown Green. And then Saturday lunch is Meg Cox, who is in this picture right here, and is a wonderful writer, quilt historian. She's on every board you can imagine. She wrote for the Wall Street Journal. She knows Gloria Steinem. I mean, come on, she's wonderful. And then Sunday is Yannick Smucker, and she's going to be talking about her new book, and the research that she did for her new book, A New Deal for Quilts. So, yeah, it's going to be really great.
And there's even things that are involved in seminar that are not on this list. Don't worry, there's more.
There's a lot. There's a lot. It's electrifying. That was my kind of what I felt at my first seminar, which was San Diego in 22. And I'm not a quilt historian. I was less of a quilt historian then than I am now, because I am learning, and I am, it's such an incredible place to be and community to belong to. I was just mesmerized by everything the first year. Last year it was a little more. I knew what I was doing, so I was helping out with the silent auction and doing a lot of that stuff. It's just there's really not. I don't know, it's just really hard to explain how cool it is and how much community there is, and um, yeah, it's really fun, and you'll see some pretty well-known people walking around, and I encourage everybody to just introduce yourself. Have a good time. Anything else? This slide I love. I love this picture.
Yeah, this is
Because
such a great picture.
look at those people in that picture. Nancy Bevore on the far left, who's our president. She's the president of AQSG. She is my boss.
Ah,
And Meg Cox and Teresa Drea Wong. Yeah, you're
sorry,
totally
guys.
messing with me.
I'm
The
sorry.
mouse
I
got away
click,
from her.
I got click happy.
He was
So
trying to point. There's Nancy. There's Meg. Teresa Drea Wong, who was our keynote speaker at the Winter Virtual Seminar, and she's such a cool person. She's also on our diversity
Diversity
committee.
inclusion.
Yes, yeah, cultural diversity committee, and so she's a real big help with that. And then Dana Balsamo, who's our wonderful auctioneer. She's a sponsor for her company, Dana Auctions, is a sponsor for seminar this year, and very generous. She gives so much of her time, and she is so fun to watch. Is she not? Is she
she
not
really
just
is. Yeah.
I could
fire?
hear
we
her
have
auction call in my sleep that night.
I
I know.
know, and it's like singing, and it's just, oh, she's so fun.
We
She
have
is so
yeah, we have a couple of great pictures from the live auction in here. So we'll look at those in a
yeah,
second.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff here. We're going to actually look at a few of these in more detail, but I think the point that Carrie was making, like, this is so much fun. And if you're coming here to watch this and you're coming maybe from the modern quilting world versus, I don't know, old quilting world, I don't know. The vintage and antique
Hey,
quilts. Um,
antique, vintage, probably pre 21st
Yeah.
century or
But
pre
we
20th
study all
century.
quilts. Yeah, we
Yeah.
study all quilts though. And while there are a lot of folks, their focus has been on vintage and antique, just because that's what was out there. I mean, this kind of third wave resurgence with the Modern Quilt Guild and modern quilting, et cetera. There are members that are starting to research that too. So if you're coming from that world, you probably recognize Meg and Teresa. So I think it's fun to point out that, you can kind of get close to the people that you fangirl after or fanboy after at QuiltCon. You can sit next to them at seminar and get hugs from them. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's look at some pictures. Okay. So the
Oh,
silent auction, Carrie only sent us one picture, but I think you can see, like, oh my gosh, you guys, look at these piles of quilts and and there's other stuff too. There's like ephemera and patterns and all kinds. So if you love quilt tops and quilt blocks and, quilts that maybe need some love, or you're looking for some particular thing, there's a really good chance it's in there. And it's kind of fun. The silent auction is always like, there's no friends in auctions
That's
and
that's
you're
what
in there
Dana
kind of
says. That's what Dana said. No friends and not friends.
yeah, and then the I mean the live auction is, I did not get anything last year because, the bidding was just intense, but it's so exciting to watch, and here's a picture of Dana there in the top right with her big beautiful hat. Because we were in Louisville, the Derby was really a kind of a, um I don't know what you call it, a theme. So it
Yep.
was really fun. People were wearing hats and stuff.
and just really quick, the way that seminars come to be is that AQSG members in certain areas, if they feel like they have the time, the energy, the gumption to fundraise, because the seminar committees do fundraise and are responsible for paying for some things. And but they have to put in a proposal to the AQSG board, and the AQSG board okays it. And so that's how we know, what's next year, and the year after next year's Portland, Maine. The year after that is Lincoln. That's where the home office is. And so if you are an AQSG member and you have an area and you'd like to have seminar in your area and you feel like you have people that could help you or volunteers or guild members or anything that can help put together this awesome event, you can email me at the office and I can kind of give you the information and send you the stuff to put in a proposal. It's not real scary. It's not a big, thing, but we do like to know, if you've got the ability, if you have the ability to host seminars. So 27's up for grabs.
Awesome.
And
Yeah, we've
and then
go
people
ahead.
from the area get to bring stuff to donate to these auctions, which is where I happen to get this orange and white. Becky, are you watching, girlfriend? This orange and white quilt here was from the silent auction in Louisville, and I'm going to tell you the prices that you can get stuff for. Woo! It's bring money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was pretty lucky too. And I was eyeing these two quilts for my granddaughters to have, to save and so I can tell them, because one of my granddaughters was like, what's the big deal about quilts? They're just blankets.
Oh,
We got a
I know.
teacher. We got a teacher.
we
And
got to teach that kid.
yes, and it is slowly, it's starting to sink in. She's a very, very smart little girl, my Vera. Um, but yeah, it's fun to a couple of perks for volunteering with for the seminar as part of the committee member or a day of event volunteer is that you get VIP registration at that seminar and the next seminar. So yeah,
And
VIP
Yeah.
registration.
And that means that you get the sign up for a short amount of time before it goes live to the entire organization. Is that what that means?
Yeah, the day before.
Mm-hmm.
So this year it opened on May 4th, and the volunteers, and we call them VIP because they are. We love our volunteers and uh, encourage anyone who wants to volunteer to join the pack because we have a lot of fun. But yeah, the day before they get to register, so they get first pick of everything, which to me is fair, very fair, because it takes a lot of work to do this.
Yeah, none of this can happen without a whole big host of
No,
volunteers behind the scenes.
no. Oh,
Absolutely. And here's some more of those people.
yeah.
Here's the vendor hall. These are some pretty well-known quilt dealers as well as some smaller vendors. Like Jill said, it's a fantastic opportunity to buy things, acquire things. And the dealers I was scared at first. I was like, oh, these people collect these beautiful things. And, but the dealers are so much fun. And, they have great stories to tell. Even if you're not in the business to buy a quilt right away, you can learn so much. So you see all these conversations being had. I mean, this is what happens. It's so fun.
And Stephanie
Well,
and
the
I
first,
spent quite a while in the vendor mall at
Yeah.
least the first night or two, because for example, here is this, the dealer that you see most here is Julie Silber, and Julie lives in California and I live in Massachusetts. So unless I'm going to shop her inventory online, which most of the time is not all of the inventory, the chance that I'm going to get to touch quilts Julie Silber is selling, this is the opportunity to do that and to meet the country's top dealers in one place, all of them at the same time. This would be the place that you would go to get if I'm going to splurge on something major once a year, let's say, this would be the place to do it because they're going to bring exceptional things for you to choose from. You will leave wanting for nothing. You will leave crying because of your bank account. But you will feel fulfilled in that crying because you came home with something really
tears of
amazing.
joy, tears of
Mhm.
joy.
Yes.
Tears of joy, yeah. And the best part is, I mean, a lot of this stuff is like museum quality quilts, that some of these that they have. And side note, if you're nice, they sometimes let you touch them, which you're never gonna happen at a museum. So even just going to the vendor hall for that alone was worth it to me to be able to I can turn the corner of this quilt over and nobody's gonna slap me.
Yeah. And the other thing I wanted to say was this quilt in the background. It actually could have been one of the vendors' quilts. Um,
Yeah, I couldn't remember if I saw where I saw it. So
I
it's
bet
it's
you
just a beautiful
somebody, if
quilt.
they watch this, somebody might be able to tell us.
Well,
But
yeah. Our
it's
people
just,
tell us. So we'll get an
yeah.
email. I'm sure there's an email going out right
Oh
now.
yeah, I'll probably get an email. Somebody will probably email me. But the first time I saw the vendor hall was in San Diego, and I wanted to go in there and just lay down in the middle of the room and soak it all in because I mean, until you see it in person, it's just there's nothing like it. The quilts are just incredible.
And it's kind of like being backstage at a museum. And like Steph said,
Mhm.
you get to touch
Yeah.
everything. And then you're with some of the most knowledgeable people in the country right now, geeking out
Mhm.
over, because even if you're not necessarily buying this particular quote, they want to tell you about it and you want to learn about it because everyone's in there,
Yeah,
not at the
absolutely.
same thing.
And I would say if you do like to go to museums and look at quilts, the people in these rooms are the people that tell the museums about the quilts. So you're actually getting information from the horse's mouth,
Mhm.
essentially an education for free. So it's fantastic. Um,
Yeah.
so okay, so speakers. We were so fortunate to be in Louisville because Audrey Essery, who is a mover and a shaker in the modern quilt world. I remember her back when she was just getting started. I took a class, she sat next to me, and I remember being like just amazed at her, these beautiful circular, imagery that she was making on her quilt. She had just started doing that. And now look at her. I mean, this is just a few years later, and she's got quilts in some major places like the International Quilt Museum. And she was able to come and speak at lunch. And I was just absolutely thrilled to see her, from just a person that was sitting next to me in a class to, now she's kind of a quilt superstar. And I'm so proud of her. And her work is so amazing. And then also we got to hear from Laurel Horton, who is like a legend. I don't know, Carrie, if you wanted to add anything, or Jill, if you wanted to add anything about Laurel, but hands down, she is probably one of the best speakers I've ever
One
listened to.
of the nicest people. What Laurel does, and FYI, I don't think she has a roommate yet. She might have a roommate, but every year at seminars, she looks to have a roommate, and she prefers to have someone who is a new or first time attendee, a new member, first time attendee, somebody that she can kind of share her huge amount of knowledge with. And she's super down to earth, such a wonderful person. And um, she she wasn't a founding member. She came into AQSG just a couple of years later. I believe she was the president of AQSG, um, but she was good friends with Sally Groot. In fact,
Yeah.
tells me stories about how she remembers sitting around the kitchen table with Sally Groot when all the quilts were at Sally Groot's, and the quilt research, the library was all at Sally Groot's house. And if you don't know who Sally Groot is, she was the founding member of AQSG, the person who founded AQSG.
Yeah. And she was
And
amazing. I read her papers. We love her here.
yeah, she's and Laurel knew her well, and she was president of AQSG, and she's also done so much work in where she's from, and just her story to me is fascinating. So yeah, that was
We're
a to
actually
me.
we're gonna hear a clip. We're gonna hear a clip of her. So yeah,
Okay,
I
awesome.
it's a little longer than I probably it should be, but we're gonna hear a clip of it in a minute. Because I just, I mean, by no means is it a TED talk, but she's so real and so passionate. That's why I just said it's like one of the best talks I've ever heard because of what it's about. So
Well, and
we'll get to her in
if
a
I
minute.
recall, Stephanie, I believe you were not a dry eye after Laurel's talk.
Oh, I got a little weepy.
It was
Struggle.
that good.
It's really interesting to hear about her struggle, and it's so relatable because if you remember what she talked about, it's like a lot of us can relate to that type of struggle. So
Yeah.
yeah, she's just love her.
Yeah, she's awesome. So Carrie already talked about, she mentioned the quilt exhibit because there was that quilt behind there that may or may not have been on one of the exhibit quilts, but I guess the quilt on the left here is definitely an IQM quilt, right? I'm pretty sure.
National Quilt Museum.
Oh, National. I'm
So
sorry.
yeah,
And then,
National Quilt Museum did the exhibit, or one of the exhibits. We also had the quilt exhibit that year. So, or the quilt study, I'm sorry, quilt
yes.
study exhibit. And we can talk about that later. But yeah, the exhibit was put on by the National Quilt Museum. Laura Hendrickson and she was there. But yeah, they're in Paducah.
Yeah. Okay. And so the other two pictures here are from that quilt study, which is a fun thing that happens every 2 years. And it's just in a nutshell, because I'm doing it right now. There's a group of people that get together, volunteer, and I say volunteer, they want to do this. So you sign up, they can only do 50 people. And then you get to look at a quilt, study it for 2 years, make a inspired by / version of it. And it is a very cool thing. And then it travels. So if you get chosen for the traveling exhibit. So
it's kind of confusing because we don't really it's kind of hard to explain to people. They say quilt study. What does that mean? Well, you pick the inspiration quilt. if you are going to participate in the quilt study, like Steph is, you pick the inspiration quilt and then you make a quilt, a smaller quilt that is your interpretation of kind of the elements, the design, whatever the theme is of the quilt study, which in 2023, and it's only every 2 years. In 2023, it was 19th century blues. So that it was focused on blue, the color blue. And then this year, Stephanie, say what it is this year, because do you know it is
It's a specific
designers and
time frame
makers.
within the 20th century quilters from 1940, I think it's 48 or 40 something
1945 to
45
1979.
to 79. I
So
never get the dates right.
Post World War II to
Just after the
1970.
centennial, the bicentennial.
Yeah. So it is designers and makers 1945 to 1979 is the title of the.
And, I would say it's almost like, if you ever got to do an independent study in high school, like that's what it is. It's like you get to design your own thing based on some parameters. It's totally a geeky way to quilt, and I just love it so much.
Yeah, and those 25 of the quilts that participate in it get to travel. Or they go from museum to museum across the country for like 4 years, I think, 3 or 4 years. And then everyone gets in the book, which the book is out now, the quilt study book for 2023. And Lisa Erlinson
I actually
does
have it right
that
at my
book.
desk right
She
now.
puts it together. She gets all the photos. She works really hard on that. Yeah, so everyone who was in that quilt study or any quilt study, the 50 people get a free copy of the quilt study book. So
Yeah,
glad you have
it's just
that.
it's a fun thing. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
okay. So the next thing, speaking of next level geekiness, are some of the presentations. And here we just have a couple. Over on the right-hand side is what's called a poster presentation. In the middle, you might recognize our friend Mary Fons, who is actually sitting at, I believe, a paper presentation. And then the one on the left was not a presentation I was part of, and I'm not sure if it's a panel.
Study center. It was a
Is
study
it a study
center.
center?
That's Mary Beth Stahl, doctors. I believe she's a PhD, and she is from Las Vegas, I think,
Ah,
or
very cool.
Nevada, New Mexico. Oh my gosh! Don't ask me anything.
And that, it's funny. That's the thing, though. I mean, we all interact with each other. We are an American study group, so we're talking about, across North America, but we talk to each other all the time. We interact online. We have, we get together. So sometimes it's like we don't have barriers. We don't.
It's not
I
just
forget where
America.
people live. Yeah. I mean, there are
One of our board members is from Canada. We have our one member from Japan is
yes.
coming to seminar. And then there's a couple of others, some of our international members who are coming to seminar. So I'm really
And we're
excited
in
about that.
we're in cahoots with the British study group too. So
Oh yes.
there's
And
lots of studying going on.
Yep.
All
Yeah.
right. And we're going to actually talk about study centers more in a minute. Okay, I just had to throw this in because, besides the quilts for sale and the different presentations where you might see quilts, and that's what some of these are, there's so many different opportunities to see quilts. People bring their own quilts just because they want to show them off. So it's like, if you like quilts, you can literally surround yourself in a nest of quilts for 3 to 5 solid days, where you don't have to be more than 10 inches from a quilt at all times.
Well, that, and even
And some of
sometimes when the scheduled things end,
yeah,
the eye candy presentations continue in
and
people's hotel rooms.
yes, and that's what's going on here in this picture. There's a little show and tell up there in the top left-hand corner. People just getting together. There's all kinds of impromptu things that go on. There's many members that talk about like this is their once a year friends, because it's really, sometimes it's hard to like keep this kind of like intensity going throughout the year. But this is the opportunity to do it, and just you have no other responsibilities at this thing other than to soak it all in and hang out with your friends. So that's obviously what you can see going on here. Also, I'm in this middle picture.
With Laurel
That's
Horton and
Laurel
Mary Kay
Horton and Mary Kay
Walvogel, mind you.
Walvogel. Yes. These people are my friends. They've written books. They are giants in our world, and I'm so
Yeah.
pleased. I know
Probably
them.
Hall of Famers. Are they
Yes.
I know Mary Kay is.
Yeah, I'm not sure
Uh
about Laurel, but if she's not
if she isn't, she
Kay
should be.
Quilters Hall of Fame, she should be. Yeah. So. And then there are the additional activities. So these do have an additional cost in addition to registration for seminar, but they are very popular. They are opportunities to get into places that are local. So, and Jill, I don't know if you have them in front of you for Tarrytown. I know I am personally signed up to go to the Newark Museum in New Jersey as one of the tours. And this isn't just like, oh, we're going to all go to the Newark and walk around for the day. This is like behind the scenes kind of stuff. There are folks in the area that have, they know curators, they know museum professionals, they know, how to get people in to be able to look at stuff. And so what you see here are things from the Filson in Louisville and Locust Grove in Kentucky. And we got like basically full reign of Locust Grove. We got to walk around the house and like we couldn't touch stuff, but we got to see everything. And then the Filson was so incredible because they have this really rich history there, and we got to learn so much. And they pulled quilts out that do not get on display very often. So, I mean, these are the kind of like once in a lifetime kind of stuff. And you get a box lunch and you get to hang out with like 25 or 30 of, your friends and be like school kids again, going on a field trip.
Well, and Steph,
So.
one of the things you and I talked about the Filson, and one major pull for me for attending seminar in other locations are the museums I may not have ever known about or would see. I am never before seminar going to Louisville, Kentucky to go to some place called the Filson. I think it's Historical Society. I didn't know that place existed. I did not know that they had a large collection of quilts, and they really gave us a VIP scenario. We got their private, like, what is that, like a board meeting room or something like that. It's a huge, brand new, like state of the art, something room. The people there were fantastic. They had 2 separate turnings going at the same time, and then they swapped us. We got nose close to some really fantastic textiles, and I would have never known that any of that existed there had it not been for seminar. And I'm sorry, Carrie, remind me who our chair was for
Coleman.
Say again.
Vicky Coleman.
Vicky
Did you
Coleman.
get to see the graveyard quilt?
I did not go to see the graveyard quilt. We had to choose between that and Locust Grove. And
The
we chose
Kentucky
Locust Grove.
Historical Society, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody told me about Mary Beth Stolp, and I was really close. She's a faculty member at the University of Northern Iowa, Las Vegas. They're kind of close. Her doctoral dissertation focused on 20th century quilters. So that last slide.
I was gonna see, Gail did make a comment of that when I was waiting for like the right moment to like sneak that little tidbit in. And of course, we thank everyone for letting us know that we are saying correct information about people, because there's a lot of people.
That's why I wanted to blurt that out there, because, I don't want to miss.
Yeah, it's once you get to be friends with academics, you tend to forget to call them Dr. So-and-so, and then you forget where they're from. They're just a friend. So
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of doctors in AQSG.
There are. And there's a lot
but you don't have to be an academic. You don't have to be an academic to play with us.
That's the thing. It's a very wide variety of people of all different education interests. I mean, just so many uh, different things. So yeah,
Yeah.
you don't know. And you don't know. I mean, you could just be talking to somebody and they're just, you know, and then they're like, well, my name's Doctor, blah, blah, blah.
Well, that's like the story of how I met Nancy before on a tour, and she had her name tag turned around. I'm not saying it was on purpose, it just happened to be that way. And she sat next to me because when you are a first time attendee, you get a special thing. This is my old name tag from Louisville. You get a special thing here that says first time attendee. And people will see that and purposely come and talk to you. And introduce themselves and be, oh my God, your first time. That's so great. She sat next to me on the bus and just introduced herself. I'm pretty sure it's just as Nancy, but don't quote me. She might have said before and I just didn't hear it.
Sure, she said Nancy.
Yeah, she probably said Nancy. And I'm just thinking, hey, this is Nancy. And we're just yakking. Not once does she mention that she's the president of the organization. And it's great because I didn't have to feel the least bit intimidated. And I'm not saying she's intimidating. I probably would have just felt intimidated, but we're just yakking away about these are things that she likes and these are things that I like. And then later on, I'm telling someone else, like, hey, I was just talking to like this person, Nancy, and I was mentioning someone else that liked something, and she's like, oh, I know that person. So I text them and they're like, describe her. And I do, she's like, that's Nancy before, that's the president. And I was like, oh, yay.
So awesome.
Yeah. So one of the other
she's
additional
great.
activities is study centers. And so the pictures here, the two on the outside ends are actually study center that Jill and I attended with our friend Mia Clift, who has this incredible collection of ephemera. And what you see here are some of the textile swatch books that she has. These are the kind of things I had never seen in person. And so the fact that she got her hands on these, I know that she like basically begged, borrowed, stole, not really, but she went to extreme lengths to get these for her collection, and she shared them. And I mean, these are things that she wouldn't necessarily get to see because museums have them and they lock them up, or they're just very rare. So it was really fun to sit in her study center and learn about these things and actually get to look through them with people that had gloves on. And then Susan Jerome is shown there. She's the person with the longer hair. She is a professor is it University of Rhode Island? I always get people's. Yeah. Okay. So
Her
I mean,
specialty is costume. She
yeah.
is costume design and costume study. But yeah, she's on the board. She's our secretary on the board. So she's on the executive committee as well. But she's actually doing go to our YouTube channel. She's doing we're doing a series called Living in the Quilting in the Material World, and it's about material culture. And I watched it the other night, and it was great. It was so good. But
We loved it too. And I think Jill and I may be doing a watch party of it soon, perhaps. So yeah, to check it out, but you can watch it with us soon as well. And then I think that the other picture, I grabbed it because it's got our friend Mary in it. But I think that one was another study center.
Our friend Alicia's in that photo also.
Oh yeah. Alicia's in there too.
Yeah, she's the executive director of the Virginia Quilt Museum.
Virginia Quilt Museum. Yep.
And Steph, did you happen to maybe leave a picture of yourself out given a study center?
I accidentally did. I had my picture in there and then I accidentally deleted it. So sorry.
Accidentally. That's the story and you're sticking to it. Well, Steph gave a study center on her Dr. Dutton for nerds that have been around for a while in Louisville. It was fantastic. And
shucks.
she's doing one this seminar on the evolution of Sunbonnet Sue. I get to be her quilt maiden for the day. And we are eventually, if you're ever thinking about doing a study center, Steph and I have on our to-do list a stream to talk about what it's like to give a study center and what they are and ways that you can do that if that's something that you think that you might be interested in. But you should definitely be interested in coming and signing up for study centers. We will look soon at what kind of study centers are offered this time around. It's so hard to choose. There's so many great things.
It really is.
It's really, it's rough in a good way.
Yeah.
We have some good ones. Yeah. I mean, they're always good, but we have a couple that are
We say it
particularly.
we say it every year.
We do.
Right? Like,
Yes,
I say that
yes,
every year.
for sure. Yeah, they're so fun though, and you know, I was scared last year to do my first one, but afterwards I was so thrilled. You know, I got so much great feedback. And the wonderful thing about a study center, just to give it a little plug, is that it's a little different than like your peer-reviewed journal paper writing kind of stuff, because your research doesn't have to be finished. It can still be a little bit informal, and you get help with that research from the people that sign up for your study center. They're interested in your topic, and they will have things to add to it, which is really exciting. You know, that doesn't happen in school so often. And I'm not an academic, but I mean, I do have advanced education, and I do not ever remember being able to do that kind of thing, you know, with people that were, you know, not grading you. They were there to help and not grade you. So it's so much fun.
Yeah. And I think people are always confused about, not always, but have been people who have been confused. They're like, study center, what is that? And I remember when I first started study center, because I'm thinking of a bunch of people sitting around studying something. And one of the things about study centers, I think that they really try to adhere to is that it's not a it's not a lecture. They can be interactive. Um, they don't like them to have a whole lot of people, a whole lot of attendees. A lot of them have limits on how many people can attend, and it's not informal in any way, but it is less informal than the paper presentations, because they do have uh, some guidelines about what you're presenting and things like that,
Oh,
or the
sure,
research that
sure.
you've done, and stuff like that. But if you are doing research and you've been really itching to talk to people about it, talk to us, and talk to Stephanie, talk to anybody from AQSG, and find out, how can I, and we have things at seminar that can help you with that.
Yeah. All right. Are you guys ready to hear from Nancy and Laurel? Like I said, we snagged a few clips from their so Nancy basically opened, did a meeting opening for our seminar, and then Laurel was our keynote. So Jill and I grabbed a few little clips that we thought were just good to listen to. You can listen to all of this. It is available, and I don't know, Jill, if you're able to stick a link in, but I can put a link in if you can't. But let's listen to these first, and then if you want.
Well, and the reason we are listening to these is because these have been recorded, and going forward, the president's, state of the organization address and the keynote are going to be recorded and available for people that cannot attend.
Okay, my bad. I had opened these and now they're gone. To be prepared. Okay, so first we will listen to Nancy.
And I hate to interrupt you, but we also have lots of quilts to see and a great talk to come. And I can't tell you how much pleasure it gives me to say welcome to the 44th AQSG seminar. And these are my goals for this year as well, which is to increase the size and diversity of our membership, to promote AQSG to a wider audience, and to strengthen our finances. So I just want to report what we have been doing this year. So to help increase the size and diversity of AQSG, the board has been working with the YWCA in Minneapolis, who has a program called Include, Diversity and Inclusion, and the consulting. And so for those of you who attended the panel yesterday with Leslie Levy of the International Quilt Museum and Karen Cooper of the Modern Quilt Guild, you got a glimpse of what the board has been learning about themselves and the organization, and what we can do to be more inclusive and welcoming to all. One change we made is that we're actually recording my talk right now, and we'll record Laurel's keynote speech, and it will make it available to members who couldn't be here for one reason or another, and so that they can feel they're a part of this group.
All right. So now let's listen to Laurel. And like I said, this one's a little bit longer just because I'm such a Laurel Horton fan.
I'm honored to present this keynote address to AQSG members gathered here and those who will get to see the video streamed. I also want to recognize members of my Horton family who are present here. And they're about to learn what I've been doing for the last several years. So why quilts? How did it happen that we have all come together through this shared interest? Each of us has followed their own individual trajectory, and I'm taking this opportunity to trace my own path, and it's been an interesting experience. When I was growing up, about 14 miles from here in Jeffersontown, Kentucky, I had no idea that my life would become deeply involved with quilts. In reflection, however, what may have seemed like a random circuitous path somehow led me to where I am at this moment. All the various influences, including events, decisions, personal interactions, and serendipities, all seem to have coalesced to direct me toward quilts. Some of those influences were unavoidable. I was born in 1948, putting me at the crest of the baby boom tidal wave. My congenital hearing deficiency was diagnosed at age 7, and my attention deficit and hyperactivity at age 50. Those three complications have complicated every aspect of my life, particularly with education, employment, and relationships. If you keep looking at and wondering about things that draw your interest, at some point, you will find yourself asking a question. Your project will become a bolt of the obvious, and you will say, yes, I want to know more. If we ask, what else? We can be open to other, more subtle possibilities that lead to more useful questions. It's more important to continue to ask and refine our questions than to look for an answer, because whatever we're examining is probably more complicated and usually more interesting than we had expected. Remember that you aren't working in a vacuum. Ask around to find someone who might know something about where to find material related to your questions. They might point you to other people, publications, or collections. They might even sit down with you and brainstorm possibilities. And if you're really fortunate, you may find a collaborator and create something together that is greater than either of you could do alone. I sincerely believe that it's helpful to envision what you want and then be grateful when it appears. Now, what are your questions and where will they take you? Thank you.
Such a great speech.
I
got
know.
I got goosebumps.
Yeah, and you know,
it's-
I chose the clips I chose really were because it was about you know, I think we all like many of the things she said about challenges really resonate. And then also the fact that, I mean, she's just so delightful. And you know, she really kindles that interest in people. So
Yeah, and the part, about it's all about the question. And I've heard many AQSG long time dedicated members say that it is about the only thing that's required is that you have curiosity and that you have a question, because research starts with that question, and a love for quilts. So
Yep.
I loved that
I
she
would,
had said that.
yeah, I would say those are probably the two requirements to be a member. But you're curious and that, you have questions and that you love quilts. That's it.
Yep.
All right. So next on our topic list is the fact that I know some people do not love travel. I myself am a bad traveler. And I feel kind of grateful that Tarrytown is only like a 5-hour drive for me, but not so for everyone else. So if you guys could talk about this, we're looking out there to help people. And so we've got some resources here.
This came about because it was brought to the attention of some committees that some people might have some issues with navigating the area around Tarrytown. So the closest city obviously is New York City. And figuring out how to get out of the city, whether it's a train, it's a bus, or it's a cab, something like that, that can be a lot for people to work out themselves, and it might cause some travel anxieties and could potentially be a reason that people decide not to come. And we don't want that to be a reason that people decide not to come. So we're working on some things behind the scenes to try to alleviate some of that. But the bare minimum, when you become a member, you have access to member community places like a private Facebook group that are for members only, and a group IO email system where you can kind of blast, members in the community, and it's private, where you could ask for things like, I'm arriving at this airport at such and such time, such and such day. Does someone want to share a cab with me? Or I'm arriving at this time. I'm comfortable in the city. I know where I'm going. Does someone want to meet me? And I'll be their travel buddy. There's already people making posts about this on the group Facebook page. And you can also call the office with the number here. This is also the email address. We'll leave links and all kinds of things in the description for later so that you know where to get to places. But if you need help, there is help. Like, please reach out and ask. It's a lot easier to connect with people than you might think that it is. And the office is all willing to help connect you with people that know where they're going, know what they're doing, and you can feel confident about your decision to come and spend time with us.
All right.
Yeah,
The
we
next
have
slide.
some bus, we have a bus company that we're working with on the tours. And so we're gonna talk to them about how feasible it would be to actually have a shuttle at the airports, and that's why we're trying to just figure out what the need is from our members who are attending seminar, and also people who maybe aren't going to attend seminar because they're worried about navigating from LaGuardia or JFK to Tarrytown. White Plains is the closest airport. It's a 15-minute drive from Tarrytown from the hotel. But it's hard to get to. I think, I don't think there's a lot of direct flights. Probably none. I don't know. There might be, but we found that we had to use two different airlines to get to White Plains. We're traveling one airline to Charlotte, and then we're taking another airline to White Plains. So yeah, contact the office. Let us know. We will try to get a buddy with you to navigate if you're worried about that.
And I love that because many organizations do not encourage you to call the office, right?
We do.
So the next slide, we have a surprise for people that in our community. Jill and I are often talking about AQSG and seminar, but they're not members yet. And, we understand you may be on the fence. Do you have time? Blah, blah, all that stuff. But we have got a little gift for you if you are interested in becoming a member. Carrie was able to get a little discount arranged for us. Now, just to know, if you are an existing member, such as myself and Jill, this unfortunately does not apply to you, but you already know what wonderful things you're getting. But this is an opportunity for folks that have been on the fence about joining, and this will give you $15 off your membership. Use seminar 24 as the code. And we'll be going over to the website in a minute, so you'll see what the AQSG website looks like. And that would be where you would do your membership transaction, and you could use that code there. So don't worry, write it down, but we'll come back. You'll see this slide again.
Well, and the thing to point out is that in order to attend seminar, you need to be a member. So
Yes.
this would be the great time to join if you're considering seminar. We're really showing you some kind of behind the scenes things here that usually members are discussing, but we want you to come and hang out with us. And we got to show you what you're missing out on, because you're missing out on really awesome things. This is the highlight now of my entire year. And it's a marathon of friendship and nerding and sharing. And like, I needed to recover afterwards because there's so much to take in. And the membership cost and the seminar costs are really worth it. There's a lot of value packed behind the cost of things. And that's one reason to do this, is to show you what kind of value you're really getting for your money.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think especially now, I mean, we all know that times are tough, and you pick and choose what you spend your money on. And I would say, I used to spend my money on a lot of things that are better off not buying. But now I save my pennies all year for this, because this is worth it. I mean, we've all been to events and things where you're kind of like, ugh, if only that could have been better, or if only it had been cheaper. But I can tell you that every penny that and we look at it as, it's like a donation. This is a nonprofit, so you look at the fact that your registration fee is really a donation to the organization, and you get all this stuff. You get to do all this stuff. So AmericanQuiltStudyGroup.org is where you would do all your membership stuff, and it's where you do registration. So with that, I think this is the right. Yeah, let me pull up the screen, and Jill is gonna walk us through while I drive.
So
tabs.
Sometimes registration online can be confusing for some people. So we wanted to show you what that looks like, so you know what to expect when you get into the system to do your registration. The office has done a lot of legwork to try to make everything as seamless as possible, especially after some snafus on the back end during winter seminar. It was really, really important that things be simple, clear, and easy to follow. And the office really did the best job they possibly could to make that happen. But we just want you to be able to see how simple it really is. And you would go to the events page here. Are you logged in, Steph?
I am not, but it will.
Yeah, you gotta log in to get into.
It automatically logs me in when I click login.
Oh, lucky you! I don't have that set up.
Yeah, so yeah, you need to be logged in, and you would go to events.
Yeah, you can go to the seminar information.
Or another way, you can go to members only and click on seminar.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a member.
So
yeah, look at you throwing in all the fancy stuff.
One thing that's really important, the software right now that the organization is using for registration kind of has extra steps, as Jill said. The good news is we're on a committee that's working to simplify that. But in the meantime, we still have the same registration. So it's important that you know that there is a registration password. It's like an extra step. So you would use this. And let me grab that.
PT stands for Terrytown.
Ooh.
I made that up.
Okay, and for some reason, Why is my keyboard not working? There we go.
There it is.
Now, Stephanie and
so
I have
here's-
already signed up for all of our stuff. But you would get in here, and before you would get in here, let me just point this out. We will look at this, but there is a schedule, a tentative schedule that's printed that comes out
Let me go-
long
Let me go
before
back there.
you go into, oh, you're going into the schedule. There you go. So here's the lovely schedule. It is long. I have my printed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages of stuff, and we won't get like deep into detail here, but you can see that every day there are study centers, there are tours, there are events happening, many things simultaneously. You do have to make choices. It's hard. Anything you go to is going to be fantastic. And this gives you an absolute minute-to-minute breakdown. So you can really get into the registration software, and you get to pick a la carte what it is that you want to attend. It takes me about a week to decide. I literally, you can see here, you're not going to see it well, but you can see I write all over my papers because of things that I want to do and where am I going, and this is, I can't go to this because I've got to go to this. And then I get in and I a la carte. So Stephanie, if you look up here at the full registration, you don't have to go to the entire thing. If you don't have the time, if that's really pricey for you, you can choose particular days to go, and it's going to tell you what's happening on that day and what your registration for that day is going to include. Example, Saturday, you're getting 3 meals. You're getting a lunch speaker, paper presentations, silent auction, vendors, exhibit, research and mentor session, author's book signing, and keynote speaker. If you can only come in for the day, that's a lot to do for your day. Maybe you don't even spend the night. I don't know that people know that you don't have to commit to the entire thing if you've got other things going on and you live close enough that is worthwhile for you to come in for the day. Come for the day. If Stephanie, why don't you do me a favor? Why don't you sign us up there for Saturday at the 250? And if you go further down, next we get to choose other things. So you have here all your lists of study centers. It's going to tell you if there's a wait list. If there is wait list for something, join a wait list. People do drop out of things. Their plans change. Things happen. Join a wait list. There are a couple of study centers on here that unfortunately have had to be canceled. Pam Robertson Rivet there and Rebecca Blosser had to pull out for personal reasons. So don't pay attention to those ones. But other things here.
Take them off until I hear from all the people who had registered for those where they want to move over to. So that's one of the reasons, but
so you'll
you
see
can't select them.
You'll see down the bottom there, Stephanie's Who Begot Whom, Welcome to this Universe. All of the descriptions for tours and study centers are in that schedule that Steph was leafing through beforehand. But yeah, if you click on that, if you go a little further down, Steph, to the tours.
Yeah.
And we've got
These tours are going to be the tours that aren't sold out. Yes, there are a couple. Are there a couple? The Wednesday tour is sold out, and then the Met tour with Jane Lurie and David Hubert's collection. That's sold out. Also, there's a wait list, but the others are equally fantastic. They're all of the tours are going to have a huge focus on quilts and quilts in the area and antique quilts. So they'll all be really good tours.
The Bergen County one, I believe, has a lot of quilts that you're going to see there. I that day will be going to Darien. if you want to hang out with me and Stephanie, you can do the Needlework on Thursday, and we'll be on that tour. If it's a full day tour, lunch is included. It's usually a sandwich, boxed lunch of some kind. It's perfectly great food. Don't worry.
Ours was Panera last year, just to give you an idea.
Yeah,
It wasn't
Yeah.
it wasn't peanut butter and jelly.
yes.
And this year will be very, you will eat very well. Yes.
And
Jane
also,
Lurie
like,
at the Met is
oh,
making dinner,
that's
but
true. Yeah, you get
darn
to
it.
have Jane's house.
Yeah.
And these also include, it's, you don't have to worry about your admission in. They handle all that. You have a bus that's going to take you there, and this price includes those things. And even the half day tours are great. They're closer by. I think I'm doing the morning Rockland on Friday. And then Monday is just for good measure is a West Point tour of the military academy. If you're going to hang out in the area, some people wait and take a little later flight so that it's cheaper for them. They stay the extra night. I stay the extra night to recover because I need sleep because it is just a party for me, and I want to party every minute I can with quilts in this person's room and in this person's room, and then I'm at the auction, and then I'm here. So I need a minute. But lots of people are excited about this last minute, like West Point, sneak it in before you go. And then Thursday, welcome reception. If you're going to come in for that, that's great. It's just a fun meet and greet and hang out. It's usually just like a little snack. In Louisville, it was like a little taste of some area delights. What was it? A hot brown? Is that what it was called?
Oh, yes, hot
Brown.
browns.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That was lovely. And they had a great little band that was playing there. And then if you wanted to do something like the show and tell on Saturday night, that's something you pre-register for because there's a limit to how many that they can have. There's also the Friends of the Needle if you come in early on Wednesday, and you pick each one of these little things, including down here your shirt. This is so great. Every year now, the shirts are going to be based on where they are and designed for that. The shirts are great quality too. They're like that Bella canvas, nice and soft,
Mhm.
totally worth the $25. Like, it's
I
a
have a
great shirt.
regular one on right now. Very soft.
I have the Quilt Nerding one on. Woo!
I
And
need
mine
to
were in the
get me one of
laundry, so
those.
And then here where it says first time seminar attendee, if you're going to click yes, that is when you're going to get that special little marker. And for anyone that might think, I don't want people to know I'm a first time attendee, you do. People are going to talk to you. And they're going to say, like, they're going to introduce themselves. They're going to invite you to sit next to them at dinner. They're going to make you feel welcome. And that's the best way to let people know that you are new and you may not know everyone. Although if you're a nerd, you're going to know me and stuff. And then I really appreciate all the dietary options. That is also a huge deal that a lot of people get nervous about sometimes going places. So after all that's done, notice we're still on the same page. We've just clicked things we've wanted. We've unclicked things we didn't want. This is just where you would go, and Steph, I don't expect you to fill all this out.
yeah, just showed my phone number online, but okay.
Register.
You would go in and fill in all of your stuff, and then down here you've got your total. And then further down is where you would enter in your payment information. It's not another jump. It's all on the same page. Once that's done and you enter in your email, I just want to point out that little spot there for email. Make sure that you are entering in the correct email address. It is definitely a problem.
Spelled correctly. Yes. Mhm.
Everyone has this issue where they accidentally enter it in wrong. And if you do, your confirmation doesn't get sent to you. So you want to make sure that you're taking the time to slow down, that you've entered in your email address correctly so that you get your confirmation. Once you hit submit, it's done. There's nothing else fancy to do. Your confirmation comes to your email with all of your stuff there. There's no, I've had no janky issues with the credit card system. It's very simple. if you were to have a problem, the office is there to help guide you through, to help you over the phone. There's help if you need help. Please don't let any issue scare you off. People absolutely will help you.
Yeah, our job is to make it as easy for you as possible. And if you don't feel comfortable going online and filling out the registration, we can do it on the back end, and it just takes a phone call and we can do it over the phone. It takes 3 minutes. So if you know what you want to do, if you know what you want to select, so I suggest figuring out what you want to select first. But and even if you'd like me to email you a copy of the schedule or anything, we're happy to do that.
Yeah, Carrie and Becky are wonderful. They give good customer service. I just wanted to
you.
point out that there are so many resources here along the side. I know, like Jill showed, she kind of writes all over her schedule that she prints off. I know it's always nice to get like packets and stuff, but got to be better to the earth. So, Carrie and team put this stuff together so that you can just save it to your computer, download it, whatever you want to do. But I can tell you there is lots of detail here. So if you're not sure, do I want to go on one of these tours? What's the deal? There's all these great descriptions of what it is about. The study centers also have descriptions. You've got the bios of the speakers. It's there's all kinds of information here, so it's not just like, oh, you're just signing up for something sight unseen. You've got all of these wonderful details, and you can download them individually, or you can download the whole thing as a packet. Also, hotel reservations are here, and I know sometimes when you're going to a conference, you're kind of like, do I get an Airbnb with some friends? Do I stay at the place where the conference is, whatever. That's an option. AQSG has the block of rooms. I don't know, Carrie, if they might be getting short now, the list. I'm not sure.
There's
Because
still rooms available.
Yeah, okay.
Tuesday night might be full because we didn't get as many on Tuesday night, but I don't think they are. Now, here's the thing. If you do not want to make your reservations online through this link, there is an 800 number, and call the office or there's a phone number to call, because if you just call the main Marriott number, they're not going to, I should say 99% of the time, they're not going to know what the group rate is. And they say, oh, well, we don't show any rooms left. Well, you have to call, and that information is available through AQSG. We can give you that number too. Right now, I don't know if it's in this. It might actually be in the general information on the website, on the seminar part of the website. I'm not sure.
Is it this
But
one?
you know what? Yes, there you go. General information. Call that number.
Yeah, what I found out recently. I was just going to say what I found out recently, a lot of hotels are doing now, like when you think you're calling the hotel directly, you're actually calling like a reservation center that may be somewhere else in the country or the world.
Yes.
And they
Yes.
often don't have the specifics of that individual hotel. So yeah, what Carrie is saying is this, I think this probably goes directly to like the front desk of that hotel where they'd have access to that information about our thing. But I mean, I got to be honest. I know not everybody loves giving out their credit card line online, credit card number online, but this is a hotel. It's safe, it's secure, and it's so easy. You just go like, bam, I want one room. I'm just me, or I'm coming with somebody, and it's done because they already have that block together for us.
And Kate, who cooks, asked before Carrie said something, if there were still hotel rooms available, which yes, there are. Kate, I want to mention one of the best reasons, this would be the best reason to join that members only Facebook group, because there are people on there that are going to go on and say, I have a hotel room for this night, this night, this night. I'm looking for a roommate. If by chance you don't want a room to yourself, of course, I understand if you do, but there's ways to help find roommates and things like that if you join those places. And also, if by chance Facebook's not your thing, of course, you can call the office and They'll either, make a post for you, or they might already have a list of people that are looking for roommates that can help connect you with somebody.
We're keeping track of everyone who's looking for a roommate. So, and many people have found them already. But yeah, we're happy to help with that.
Yeah. So, all right, we I told you, Jill, we do a really good job of like going way over what we had planned. But there is a sense of urgency because seminar registration does end in less than a month. So the cool thing is though that membership code does go through the same day, right? You have until August 5th to decide to join and decide to go to seminar. So you have a little less
You
than a
do it
month.
tonight, it'll go through tonight. If you have issues with it, or you need help, call the office tomorrow and then it'll go through tomorrow. So yeah.
Yeah. So that is pretty much everything about seminar, but we wanted to add a little other thing in here. So we have to kind of put you back on the spot, Carrie. There are membership perks. It's not just like I joined this thing to go to seminar, but all year long, there is so much other stuff to be had at American Quilt Study Group. So we've talked about a lot of these things, but I don't know if you wanted to sort of highlight anything.
Yeah. The virtual programming, we're always the Showmakers Committee, which both Stephanie and Jill are on, is responsible for planning all of our virtual offerings. And right now, if you watch Quiltside Chats, that's available to members and non-members. That goes through the Showmakers Committee. The Material Culture Series, which there will be more. Just a little spoiler, Jill and Stephanie are going to be doing a little piece for material culture, the material culture series, and then Friday night hangouts, which is hugely popular. Quarterly, there's a Friday night hangout. You get online. It's very informal. There's usually a theme. The next one is July 20th, 19th, and it's the 2-year anniversary of Friday Night Hangout. So they're going to be talking about anniversary quilts or celebratory quilts, and they just have a really good time. And they meet for like I don't know 3 hours, 2 hours. It's really cool, and you can show what you're working on. You can ask questions. It's pretty cool. And then the annual professional journal is Uncoverings. It is a highly regarded research, obviously research based, peer reviewed, and all the sources are cited. It's a very, I mean, there's a lot of really in just influential people in the quilt
It's
world that get
important.
published in
It's important quilt research.
in very important quilt research. And in fact, Mary Fonz is going to be in the 2024 edition
Yeah.
Well, that
of
and you
Uncoverings.
and you also have a brand new editor, don't you?
Yes, we do. Brand new editor, Joanna Evans, who was our previous, and she's still working on 2024. But for 2025, we have hired, Joanna has decided she has many things going on in her life. Um, and we have Dr. Charbrian Plummer, and she's going to be fabulous. I'm really excited to work with her and see what happens with Uncoverings and just it's going to be really great. The newsletter is blanket statements, and you do get the digital version of that. You can pay for the hard copy, but we send it digital. It's free to members, and it comes out. It's actually 5 issues because we do spring, summer, or winter, spring, some. There's a song: winter, spring, summer, fall, and seminar.
Oh, that's
And the
right. You do
seminar
like a
issue.
special edition.
Yeah, I forgot
Special
about that
seminar
one.
edition.
Despite the fact I
Yeah.
wrote a piece for it, I completely forgot about the seminar edition.
And so we kind of call it the quarterly newsletter, but then plus one, the biennial quilt study. We talked a little bit about that earlier, and that is something that's to me is really cool. It's just a really cool program. Mia Clift and Shavon are the chairs this year of the 2025 quilt study, and I believe you can still sign up for it. You can still put your name in for it. And then the research grants, we give several. We have an endowment grant that we give up to $5,000, I believe. And then the H. Mark Dunn research grant, Lucy Hilty research grant, and Sue Cummings research grant. And those are you submit the proposal, tell us what you're working on and what you would need the funding for, and give a little budget. It's a really good way to help fund your research. The membership directory, that's online, and you can look up by state. You can look up every member in the country. You can look up by their last name, by first name, by an email, by a phone number, and then you can purchase the directory for $10. Now we make people, I'm sorry, we make people purchase, or members purchase stuff that's hard copies, because we really are trying to be kind um, to our environment. So, and then the community, that's probably, to me, one of the best parts of membership is the community, and the just the people that you can meet. And I'm a testimony to that. I've made some great friends, and just people that really help me in my job, and be more confident in my job, and learn more about quilts and quilt research. So it's a great organization, and I just feel really grateful to be a part of it.
And
Yeah. And
y'all, this
I would go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, what you're seeing here and what Carrie's talking about, these are just membership perks. Never mind things that we've shown you what happens at seminar. You get all of this just from being a member. And I would say the newsletter and the Uncoverings journal alone, if you consider kind of the cost to buy other printed academic, book-bound journals, pricey. So just that alone,
It pays for itself.
yeah, it pays for itself. And then you are going, one thing that Carrie didn't mention that I have done, and that's why I'm bringing it up, is the member directory. You can search members by interests. And that is a great way to, for example, Steph doing her study center about Sunbonnet Sue. She can literally get in there and search other people that are interested in Sunbonnet Sue, and potentially say, I'm doing this research, on this topic that you're interested in, can you point me in any directions? Is there things that you found? Like, it's great ways to break ice with people. Which I'll tell you is going to be, these are the easiest people to talk to, because you already have that you have that same interest in quilts, regardless of the kind of quilt.
And yeah, and what I would say about, to me, all of these things, like any one of these things, worth the price of admission. But I would say with the member directory, and I'm going to be a little bit tongue in cheek here, but like, do you want Barbara Brackman's email address? You can get it by becoming a member. But in all seriousness, if I have a question, I know I can look those people up. Think of anybody who's kind of big in the quilt study and just quilt community industry kind of at large. So many of them are members. And if you've ever been frustrated about
Kirchhoff, even in modern quilt, Roderick
Yes.
Kirchhoff, Joe Cunningham.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
have guys.
Yeah. And if you've ever been frustrated about trying to reach out to somebody through, direct message on social media, some of those people get inundated, and they might just not be great at social media and paying attention to those things. They maybe have a blog or a website, and they don't have contact information there because they get inundated. But as a professional, organization, you can reach out to those people. We have those mechanisms. You get their email address. And, it's the fact that you are part of this, organization shows that you're committed to this, and they're happy to hear from you. But also the community, I have to say, so many people have told me their first time at seminar, or just in general, that it's like, I found my people. Like, I did not know that there existed a group of people who are just like me, even if they come from different backgrounds, different, whatever. Ultimately, we're all there because we love quilts, and everything else falls away, you know? So yeah.
A question came in from LJ that says, is membership $40? Membership has levels. The one most people probably pick is friend, and that is $75. And then with the coupon code that we are introducing here tonight, you get $15 off. So it becomes $60, which really makes it a huge value, at least to get, if you're not sure, maybe this group's not for me, I don't know. This is the great time to find out, because you really get to see kind of like the big show of the year if you come to seminar, test the waters, and then you're going to say like, oh, this is really a place I want to be. I've been missing out on something. So that
$40 membership. Yeah, the $40 membership is the academic membership, and you have to show either that you are an educator or a student. So we require a student ID or some kind of record, like a business card or something that shows that you are indeed an educator or a student. So, and then with the discount, that would be 25, 35. How much? Tell me, 15, $25.
25.
And that's, you know, and that's I think that's a great thing to point out though, because I remember, Carrie, you and I, when we were at QuiltCon, we met a young lady who I think was she a senior in high school? I can't remember, but we had talked to her and because she was like, oh, I would love to join an organization like this, but you know, I mean, it's a professional organization, it's more costly. And you were like, no, you're a student, you qualify for this. And that was so exciting. I'm like, you know what? When I was in college, I wish I had known about AQSG, because not only would I have immediately joined, I would have had, you know, the benefit of being a student. So I could, you know, join for that level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, what else, you guys? I mean, we have the coupon code up here as kind of our final thing. Did you have any final words you wanted to say?
There will be links. I noticed I had given Stephanie a description to put down a thing, and I noticed the links didn't transfer over. So
Oh no,
it's not your fault. So as soon as we're done here, I'll update that and put links in for places so that you know where you're going and you're not fumbling through anything. We hope that this was helpful in terms of, instead of answering questions kind of here, there, and everywhere, to kind of have a one-stop shop to really kind of dig into some things and find out, you know, what things are and what people are doing and who people are. Here was your chance to really get to talk with Carrie, and we're so glad that she could be here to help us through all of the things that seminar and membership are. It's a lot of things, and definitely Steph and I would have forgotten things if Carrie wasn't here to help us with us.
For sure, absolutely. And I would say, if you are an AQSG member, you can find us in the directory. If you are not an AQSG member, you know, you can always reach out to me and Jill on all of the platforms. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on Instagram. I'm on Twitch.
Yeah.
So
And thank you, Jill and Stephanie, for doing this, because we just really want to share this amazing organization, what it's all about with people. And they are volunteers, and I'm telling you what, they have done a lot for our organization. So if you want to volunteer and help out, we always are welcome to anybody that has the itch to, number one, give back. We are a nonprofit organization. We operate under the generosity of people. We are a volunteer-driven organization. So we need people
and
like
it's
you.
the coolest darn club to belong to. That's end of story.
It is. We have so much fun. We went to QuiltCon together. Well, Jill, for some reason, she was lame and didn't go, but Stephanie was there, and we had such a great time. And it's a great organization to belong to.
I think we've said all the things. I don't know that we can cram anything else in.
Oh, there's more, but we can't do that. Can't do that today.
We've said all the things. I will have links for you in the bottom. We did I will put it down in the bottom again too in the description, but on screen we did have the phone number for the office. Please don't hesitate to reach out to them if you have questions and need help. We are also forgetting to mention our fabulous Becky, who's also in the office, and she's often behind the scenes on a lot of things. So you
Yeah,
can
Becky
also end
Fisher.
up talking to her.
Becky Fisher without the C. It's Fisher. Yes, she's fabulous. So we're here
We
for
love
you.
Becky.
All right. Well, Carrie, thanks so much for joining us. And
Yeah, thanks so much, especially on a Sunday night. I know.
Having me. Thank you. I know, but you know what? It's worth it to me. I'd do anything for you guys. You know that. Well, not anything.
we would do anything for you in the organization. Not well, maybe
I know.
within reason. Within reason.
Within
Yes.
reason.
And everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Kate wants to know how she finds the Facebook group. Kate, it's called AQSG members only, right?
Yes. If you're a
Yes,
member, just search
Mhm.
AQSG members only.
Mhm.
When I first started working in the social media in this organization, I couldn't find it either. But yeah, it's AQSG members only. Because I was looking up American
Yeah.
Quilt Study.
Yeah, I put it in the chat
Yeah.
there for you, Kate. You'll have to, I believe you have to answer a question, and then that's how they kind of cross-check that you're a member. Hi, Druid. Thanks so much for dropping in. I appreciate you so much for coming by. And everyone else that's been watching that hasn't been in the chat, we appreciate you too. And we hope that you'll pass this on to other people that you think might need a little extra info on seminar and things that are going on. And I think that's going to do it for us, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you guys, hope to see you this coming week in all of our places. If you know, you know. If you don't, find us on all the places.
All
Just
those
have to put our
places
names
will
in.
be in the description.
All right, guys, have a great evening and a happy end to your weekend, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you so much.